Hey you all, this is Brian and you are watching the Dark Age channel.
Are you always on the lookout for the next big emergency? Stockpiling supplies like there's no tomorrow? Kinda like me? Well, hold on to your emergency radios because we're diving into a topic that's as intriguing as it is important. Why some preppers end up on the wrong side of the law. Now, I know what you're thinking. Prepping is about being ready for anything, not breaking the law. And you're absolutely right. But sometimes, in our quest to be the ultimate survivalist, things can get a little, let's say, complicated. You see, in the fascinating world of prepping, it's not just about having the most canned beans or the fanciest bunker. A lot of people don't seem to be aware that it's also about navigating a maze of laws and regulations that can be as tricky as surviving a week in the wilderness without a compass. From sensational headlines about preppers getting handcuffed for collecting rainwater to the nitty-gritty of local ordinances, it's a wild ride. So, pull up a chair, grab your favorite snack, dehydrated fruit, anyone, and let's unravel the mysteries behind why some well-intentioned preppers end up trading their survival gear for a court appearance. Trust me, it's going to be an eye-opener. Permits and government overreach. Let's dive into another topic that's stickier than superglue. Permits and the overzealous reach of government into our prepping plans. It's like you're just trying to set up a lemonade stand, and suddenly, you need a permit, a health inspection, and who knows what else. Now, permits, they're kind of like those instructions on a seed packet. They're meant to guide people, make sure projects don't end up like a garden overgrown with weeds. They're there for safety, right? You don't want your neighbor's DIY shed to tumble over into your yard during the first gust of wind. But sometimes, these permits are less about safety and more about the government dipping its fingers into our pie. It's like, hey, I just want to build a simple rain catchment system, not a water park in my backyard. But no, you've got to jump through hoops, fill out forms, and sometimes it feels like they're just trying to squeeze a few more dollars out of you. So, as preppers, what do we do about this? Well, we've got to know the lay of the land. Understand our local laws and regulations like the back of our hand. It's about finding that sweet spot where we can do our thing without stepping on any toes. Preppers and legal compliance. Here's the straight talk. Being a prepper isn't a one-way ticket to the slammer, despite what those over-the-top headlines might have you believe. Sure, we love our stockpiles and our self-reliance, but that doesn't mean we're all out there playing fast and loose with the law. It's like being a responsible driver. You keep your supplies, but you also know the rules of the road. The real deal is, most preppers who find themselves in hot water with Johnny Law aren't there because they've got a pantry full of canned beans. No, sir. It's usually because they've stepped over a line, maybe stockpiling something they shouldn't, like explosives. It's like fishing without a license, sure, it's just fishing, but rules are rules. So, how do preppers steer clear of trouble? First off, know your local laws like the back of your hand. It's like having a map when you're out in the wilderness. If your area says no to certain activities like collecting rainwater or stockpiling certain items, then you gotta respect that. It's about being prepared, not being a rebel. Laws and individual rights. Let's break down a real head-scratcher. How laws and our individual rights as preppers sometimes feel like they're playing a game of tug-of-war. It's like trying to balance a family-sized bag of rice on a tightrope, a bit tricky to say the least. Picture this. You've got your prepping game on point. You're thinking, I've got my supplies, my plan, I'm all set. But then, bam, you hit a wall of laws that feel like they're there just to rain on your survival parade. It's like planning a backyard BBQ and finding out you need a permit to grill your hot dogs. Take, for example, the dude who got snagged for collecting rainwater. Now, we're not talking a couple of barrels here. This guy went full-on beaver mode, building dams on his property big enough to have boat docks. He wasn't nabbed after a quick, hey, don't do that. It was a decade-long saga of ignored warnings and court orders. It's like ignoring those check engine lights on your dashboard eventually, you're gonna have to deal with it. So, what it all looks like is, laws aren't just about keeping us from hoarding all the rain. They're there to make sure what we're doing doesn't mess up the neighborhood. Kind of like making sure our backyard campfire doesn't turn into a block party inferno. Sucks, doesn't it? I mean, they should just leave us alone, right? Unfortunately, as preppers, we've got to walk this fine line between doing our thing and playing by the rules. It's about knowing where the line is and doing the hokey pokey right up to it without stepping over. Because at the end of the day, it's all about being ready without getting a knock on your door from the boys in blue. Government's role in preppers. Nope, I'm not saying Uncle Sam's going to join your neighborhood canning party, but there's a bit of a dance we do with the government in our quest to be prepared. Think of the government like a big old management company. They're supposedly there to make sure everything runs smoothly, from the roads we drive on to the water we drink. Now, imagine prepping as your personal emergency plan, kind of like having an extra flashlight in your car. Both are important, but they operate on different wavelengths. Here's where it gets interesting. The government, bless their hearts, is all about the big picture, the community, the masses, the greater good again, supposedly. It's like they're hosting a huge potluck and trying to make sure everyone gets a slice of the pie. But us preppers? We're more like the person who brings their own sandwich to the party, just in case. We're focused on our own game plan, ensuring our families and homes are ready for whatever curveball life throws our way. Now, you might think these two approaches would mesh like peanut butter and jelly, but it's more like oil and water. Why? Because when you're laser focused on your own survival strategy, it might not always align with what the government has cooked up. They're thinking about highways and schools, while you're worried about your own stash of supplies. Political trends and big government. Next is about something that's kind of hotter than a firecracker on the 4th of July, the shift toward big government, and how it's stirring the pot in the prepping community. It's like watching your quiet camping spot suddenly turn into a bustling tourist attraction. Here's the scoop. There's a growing trend, especially among the younger crowd, that's leaning more towards the idea of big government. It's like they're ordering up a supersized government combo meal with extra fries. And this isn't just a whisper in the wind. We're talking about a shift that's picking up steam like a freight train. Now, for us preppers, this can feel like trying to build a campfire in a rainstorm. Why? Because big government often means more rules, more regulations, more folks saying you can't do this or that. It's like trying to hike through the woods, but there's a new no trespassing sign on every other tree. And here's the kicker. As these big government ideas gain traction, they start to shape the laws and policies that affect all of us. It's like the rules of the game are changing. And suddenly, things we took for granted, like collecting rainwater or growing our own food, might get tangled up in red tape. So, what's a prepper to do in these changing times? Keep your ear to the ground, that's what. Stay informed about what's going on in the political arena. It's like keeping your compass handy on a long hike. It helps you stay on course. Remember, in the world of prepping, being informed is just as important as having a full pantry. Let's keep our eyes open and adapt to these changes like we do to any other challenge. Relocation for self-sufficiency. And lastly, let's talk about the relocation of your big move for better self-sufficiency. It's like realizing your trusty old campsite just isn't cutting it anymore, and you need to scout out new territory. Picture this. You're all set up in your current digs, but the local rules are tighter than a jar of grandma's jam. You've got dreams of a big garden, maybe some chickens clucking around, but every time you turn around, there's another rule or fee raining on your self-reliance parade. That's where the idea of pulling up stakes comes in. Think of it like searching for your own little slice of prepper paradise. You want a spot where the sun's always shining on your solar panels, and you can collect rainwater without someone causing a fuss. It's about finding that perfect patch where your prepper spirit can roam free. Now, deciding to relocate isn't as easy as picking a new spot on a map. It's more like carefully planning a long-haul hike. You're scouting for a place that's got the right mix of freedom and community. Somewhere your prepper ways aren't just accepted, but are part of the local fabric. If your current locale feels about as fitting as a pair of tight boots on a long trek, it might be time to consider a change of scenery. After all, being self-sufficient is more than just what you do. It's about finding a place where you can thrive doing it. Media misrepresentation. You know how it goes. You're scrolling through your newsfeed and bam, there's a headline about some guy getting hauled off for, again, hoarding rainwater. But hold up, it's not the whole story. Media's got a flair for the dramatic, like a fisherman talking about the one that got away. That story grows bigger and wilder with every telling. Here's the deal. Our guy, can't name him. He wasn't just casually collecting rain in a few barrels. He went all out, building dams, creating lakes big enough for boating. And it wasn't a surprise visit from the law. This was a saga, a decade of warnings and legal tussles. But what do the headlines say? They make it sound like the guy was nabbed for setting up a kiddie pool. It's like saying you're preparing for a hurricane when you're just bracing for a light drizzle. The media loves a good spectacle, and let's be honest, man arrested for massive water hoarding has more zinc than local man ignores water collection regulations for 10 years. So, in a world where headlines are as sensational as a blockbuster movie trailer, what do? We've got to be sharp and dig beyond the flashy titles. Don't just nibble on the bait, go fishing for the whole story. So, if you're feeling cramped, maybe it's time to spread your wings and find a new nest. Just remember, the best spot for a prepper is where your garden can grow and your independence shines bright.